Transformers Rise of the Beasts. Did it rise to meet expectations? We're going to talk about it. All right, so Transformers Rise of the Beasts. We are going to be kind of going through this real quick to understand what this new entry in the franchise means and how they set up for things in the future. So make sure that you go ahead and you hit that subscribe button if you follow along, and you get all the updates and stuff as we can get them out to you. So this movie starts off, mainly we kind of get into what's going on with the Maximals. We kind of get introduced to them right away and understand that something is going on, something bad is happening. And we see that Unicron is there with his bounty hunters, the Terracrons, led by Scourge, and they're trying to get this key. They need to get this key, which is, akin to interdimensional space travel and all this kind of stuff. Like, it's going to allow them to move from one end of the universe to the other so that Unicron can do what Unicron does and eat planets. That's just what he does. So with this being said, the Maximals have to defend the key, and basically they end up escaping to Earth as refuge. Earth is just everybody's refuge, apparently, as it comes down to it. So in the process of losing some loved ones, some other fellow Maximals and stuff, Optimus Primal takes them to Earth to escape. While on Earth, they're just kind of chilling there. They come in, they've been there for thousands of years, apparently. Hundreds of years, thousands of years, somewhere in that time. We don't know when they exactly arrived, but the movie takes place in the 90s, roughly around 1994, in that time frame, I believe. So with that being said, we get into understanding what happens on Earth from this point on. It's now 1994. You got Noah Diaz. He's trying to, fly the straight and narrow, get stuff done, get a job, take care of his family, because he's got a mom who's working a whole lot and a brother who's always sick, and having to deal with hospitals and all that kind of stuff. Now, Noah can't get a job worthwhile because he was kicked out of the army for whatever reasons, but they did say that he was real good with tech, and he just didn't have, I guess, what it takes or whatever, so he got kicked out. He had other priorities in mind, so that, which I understand. Take care of your family, that's a big priority. You don't want nothing getting in the way. So in the process of this, he ends up can't get a job, so he tries to do some unsavory things, and that involves stealing a car to kind of get some money to take care of his family. The process of stealing that car turns out to be a transformer, and while he's trying to steal that car, Transformers get a call because something is going on, something's not right. We got to kind of figure out what's going on. The reason the call came through is because you have a young girl who works in a scientist type deal. She works at like an art museum. She's been there more or less trying to figure out how to be more than just an intern. Again, this is Elena, young black girl trying to make her way. Very happy to see her character because, again, these characters that we're seeing, Noah and Elena, they're very down to earth. And so like they just seem like regular people. And that's what I like about this so far. So as she's trying to assert her knowledge and stuff, let the actual curator know, the museum director know, who apparently isn't as smart. She's kind of like she's in a position, but she refers to the intern for everything else. Like, what is this? I need to know what this is. So she's actually one doing the job. She ends up making a discovery about the objects that were brought in from some kind of art raid or something like that. One of the objects has a maximal symbol, so it's very particular. As things go on, she ends up kind of breaking it by accident and finds there's the key inside, and that sends a surge to everybody. So now Unicron, who is holding down the fort as far as has Scourge by the proverbial freaking wrecking balls, and says that you need to go get this or I'm going to mess you up. And Scourge gets a signal. Hey, he's heading down there to go find out what's going on. So this is where we get the big hunt. Like, Autobots are activated because they see that the surge is going through. It's only detectable on their kind of wavelengths. Scourge gets the pulse and stuff, so he's headed there to go kind of deal with that. And in the process, we get Noah, who's wrapped up in everything because he tried to steal the car, and he just gets brought along for the ride by Mirage, who is the car in question. So Mirage brings him along. He's like, hey, bring him along. We can use him. He can get in, get the key, blah blah blah, whatever. They're in there, freaking, pretty standard plot stuff. Go in there to get the key. Look, the Transformers get their butts whooped. Like they get beat down for whatever reason, and they're unable to contend with all the things that are going on, and it's mainly with having all the Transformers there, Optimus B and stuff. Like they're just not able to hang. And from what we've seen with the Transformers, it never made sense that Optimus wasn't able to hang with somebody at some point in time. So in this process, Bumblebee dies. He gets murked by Scourge, and his token, his symbol, taken and added. It's like a little trophy for Scourge. As everything's going on, this is where it gets interesting, because Airazor shows up because she's been watching over the key, and they find out that that's only half the key. Even though Scourge takes it, it's like, yo, I got the key. Unicron's like, no, dummy, there's more to it. So now they got to go back and find the rest of it. As they escape, Airazor's just like, yo, come with me, figure it out. We go find the other half of the key. I don't know where it is. Of course, Elena, who's very smart and has already deciphered certain symbols, she's like, I know where it's at. It's in like Peru or something like that. We got to go, this way to go get the other part of the key. So in the process, they all decide that, hey, we're going to take care of that. This is my home too. I want to make sure my home is protected. So Elena, hey, it kind of harkens back to the original Transformers. Don't you want to say you had the guts to get in the car? With freaking, Shia LaBeouf's character, he was like, hey, don't you want to say you had the guts to get in the car? Noah essentially does the same thing to Elena. Hey, don't you want to say you had the guts to go do what it is? Like your dad was always, trying to do stuff. And we get more backstory on her. Her dad was a cab. He always told her, he was very smart, but he never went to college, all that kind of stuff. So this is something that, he could be proud of for her. So it makes sense. But Noah is all about protecting his own. And you can see that he'll do whatever it is to protect his own. And right now his own is Earth. And the fact is that Earth hangs in the balance. That's one of the biggest things that is bugging him, is we need to be able to protect ourselves. So when it comes down to it, either destroy this key or, we can, kiss our butts goodbye. And that's kind of the whole process with them and how that goes. Now, they eventually travel through on Stratosphere, this old broken down Autobots like that. And that's the other thing that I'm kind of griping about the movie, is we're getting Autobots kind of coming in from different places. Again, there's Transformers in different parts of the world for different things. This movie takes place in 94. So I'm wondering what happened to some of these guys, or how many Transformers. It seems like a lot of Transformers are placed just for plot, because again, like you don't see them, and again, I know it's money. It's like you got to animate all these things and all this other stuff. So I get it, but it's just like, apparently Airazor seemed like she was there with another team of Maximals, and she was the only one left. It's like, what took them out if she's the only one left, or did she just break off by herself and take that half of the key, while as Optimus Primal stayed with Cheetor and Rhinox on the other half of the key, and they made sure that was protected. It's like, you figure you split 2 and 2 or whatever, so why is it 3 and 1, or was there someone else on the ship that we missed? I don't know. Whole bunch of back and forth. So again, gripes and complaints about the movie as I'm going to go. So eventually you see that Optimus Primal, and I got to be very specific about this, is he's been trusting of humans for a long time because he has entrusted the key to them. And that's how you kind of find out as they're going through, Elena and Noah are going through Underground Temple. You see them get a little bit of Mirage tech to kind of help out with everything, and these things are chasing them. But as they go through, which is all just a fruitless search, because Optimus Primal has had the key hidden with some very special humans to him, and they have for a long time. Their family has watched over this key for generations. So probably hundreds of years and stuff like that, maybe thousands, hundreds of years, they've been there. So once they come out of the tunnel, so that automatically they just know, hey, somebody came out of the tunnel. They sense the other Terracons and all this other stuff going on. But this is where kind of a big battle ensues, because Terracons are looking for everything. The battles aren't as anticlimactic at this point, because it seems like Optimus Prime is mad and wants to fight Scourge over B, and they're carrying B's dead body around with them, which lets me know that, okay, they're looking for a revival kind of thing at some point. they're gonna figure that out. B is not gonna be dead because again, it takes place in '94. The other movies take place sooner, so why B died and stuff like that to I guess just to elicit the emotion out of Optimus, but we know that he's not gonna stay dead because it's Bumblebee. So anyway, we get to the point where they're just scrapping, and eventually they just end up breaking off the scrap. Air Razor kind of gets hit with something from Scourge, and which is an apt nickname because apparently that Scourge is like a corruption thing. And as time goes on, and they're trying to protect their half of the key, Scourge comes to get the other half of the key because Air Razor takes it to him. She's now corrupted and infected. It's like a virus, so it's messing her up. And eventually Optimus Primal has to do what he has to do and take out Air Razor to try and protect the humans, as well as, you know, try to get the key back. But he kind of can't hack it in that aspect because, again, you know, Air Razor's flying and passes off the key to Scourge, and Scourge and his other two Terracons just kind of take that and run. Now, with everything that's been going on, it's been a very simple kind of thing for Elena and Noah to understand, you know, that this is what they got to do. This is how they got to take everything. Again, they remain down-to-earth characters. They have some comedic moments and stuff in the movie, and I like that, but it's not over the top. Shia LaBeouf, don't get me wrong, I like Shia LaBeouf's Transformers for what it is. Like, he was funny, so that, but his stuff was more over the top. Whereas this seems a little bit more grounded. And I like that we're kind of going this direction just because it gives a little bit more humanity to the characters, I guess you could say. They feel more real to me. So like these are New Yorkers and stuff who were just kind of doing their thing. And granted, I'm not a New Yorker, so with that, but again, I believe they both lived in New York for a while, so that they feel more authentic and stuff to me. As far as the actual actors are concerned, they lived in New York. So with all this being said, it's like, all right, cool. What needs to happen with getting this key back? Figure out we got to take the fight to them. Of course, Elena already has the code because Air Razor had the other half of the code that can actually shut down the key. So with Optimus Primal's half, Air Razor's half that Elena was able to decipher, they're like, we got to make a bid to go get the key. So we're gonna leave Bumblebee here on this, you know, area that's covered in dormant energon. So there's this big energon rock that's just dormant. We're going to put Bumblebee on top of it, and we're going to leave him here. And we're going to go fight. Cool. The key, once it activates, can cause like freaking these big explosion, this big like surge and stuff of power. Okay, we're kind of setting up for Bumblebee's return. It's pretty obvious at this point. Like, there's no getting around it. So after everything goes through and they do the big battle, they activate freaking the key for Unicron to start to come through. Of course, Unicron has got thousands of minions to just send. So he's just sending minions during the whole time. I was like, okay, why didn't you send all these people in the first place to just come and, you know, take everything out? If that's what you're like, you have this in your arsenal and stuff like that. Freaking, you have these 3 on the ship. Like, you could have packed up like 100 or so with Scourge and his team to send them to go get the key. You didn't have to wait till you just come through and then bring everything. But I digress. Everything comes through, and now it's a big fight. So we actually get the Autobots roll out, and then we actually get Optimus Primal with, you know, Maximals maximize, which is, I ain't gonna lie, I was waiting for it. I needed it. I needed it to freaking happen, and it happened. So you see Cheetor, Rhinox, and, you know, Optimus Primal all transform into their battle versions, and they get to work. So it's absolutely fantastic. Cheetor doesn't really get any screen time like that. That was a big problem. Rhinox, I don't think he said 2 words, to be honest. Like, it just seemed like he was there, but nothing else really came of it. As far as the rest of them, like, Mirage was the one who gets talked the most, so that like Mirage wouldn't shut up, and I like that about Mirage. He's just talking like the entire time. He just, hey, like, and I guess that's kind of where that's where it made the difference for me. He had more personality, kind of like B, so that he had more personality, so it was more fun for him to do it, as opposed to the humans, Elena and Noah. More like, hey, yo, like, our world's about to end. Like, we gotta kind of buckle down and kind of figure this out. So they had a little bit more determined, you know, characters, and That's what I enjoyed about that. I will say that throughout the fight and stuff like that, it just seemed like it was just a whole bunch of we're gonna smack these people around and kind of do all this stuff. Like nothing else really transpired within that fight other than we got to get to the key and shut it down. Mirage was the main freaking, so the key was the main thing. So Mirage was there, and he ended up kind of doing like a self-sacrifice play to make sure that they got to the key, that Noah had time and Elena had time. And this is where it kind of got interesting. We saw Mirage kind of sacrifice himself in the process to take the hits from Scourge while Scourge was guarding the console. After he sacrificed himself, he was still alive to a degree. And he said something where it was like, no, now it's your turn to drive. And when he did that, he started taking his parts and he turned his parts into a battle suit for Noah. I like that. That harkens back to some old school stuff. I was glad to see it. It definitely set up. I didn't expect him to do it. So the fact is that we got it going. Absolutely fantastic. And this can actually set up for more stuff in the future with how they want to do the Transformers. Again, I'm going to get into that. We're getting there. So he puts on the battle suit. Now he's scrapping, and he's going up against Scourge. Optimus Prime comes in as backup, and they start kind of going to work on Scourge as best they can. Eventually, Elena gets in the code. It shuts down the thing, but it's still kind of going nuclear, so to speak. Optimus ends up taking out Scourge. Everybody, Mirage is just, he's the battle suit, but, Mirage is more or less deactivated. In the process of this, as they're fighting Scourge, Bumblebee comes flying out of stratosphere. That's what that. He's alive and well and ready to scrap. So he comes in, he takes out one of the Terracons, which Scourge essentially takes out the Terracon because he's firing at freaking B. And the other Terracon, I think, is taken out by Optimus and Optimus Primal, like in a little 2-on-1 at the beginning. But again, they were like not even important. Like they were just kind of there as like a look for stature. But to me, they really did absolutely nothing. They were just kind of present. So Bumblebee's back, so that Scourge gets taken out, and now it's just like, all right, we got to get out of here. We got to get away. And in the process, like somebody's got to stay behind to destroy this thing. So Optimus Prime is like, I'm gonna stay behind. Self-sacrifice play. That's what he's known for. He will do it. I have no doubt in that. So as everything goes down, so with that, he goes ahead and hits the self-sacrifice, and that's it. But out of nowhere, you see Noah come back in the battle suit. He grabs on to Optimus with the axe. With that, again, this battle suit has to have incredible strength because he is literally grabbing, as gravity type well is pulling Optimus. He is holding on to him with his jets and stuff, pulling back. And I'm like, he's not going to be able to pull him. That's not going to happen. So if he's holding on tight, then of course you eventually get Optimus Prime when it comes in. Hey, they all going to stick together. They all going to figure it out, and they end up getting him to safety, and all's well and good. So the key is destroyed, so they have to remain there on Earth, which again, we kind of saw that coming because again, this movie is set in the past, but it sets up for things going forward. So we get a whole kind of feel like we're going to be here. Mirage is end up being rebuilt because again, Noah's good with tech. He rebuilds Mirage, gets him back to functioning. He's kind of a dilapidated Porsche, like all kind of scrap metal put together, so with that. But he's alive. He's got personality still, so with that, and now he just looks a little bit more rustic, so to speak. But it all works out, and eventually, everybody's freaking kind of happy. Noah comes home. Elena gets recognized for her achievement. She's on the show and so that on TV and so with that, getting her due reward because she's the one who's just smart as hell and not the museum director person or whatever. And Noah actually gets invited to a job interview. So he comes to a job interview and they say, hey, we're going to take care of all the bills for your brother. He's going to have access to all the best care, kind of full resolution. You just need to come, work for us. And think about it. So with that. And this is where we get the big thing. We know that this is made by Hasbro, right? So as we get into it, you see him hand him a card, and then you see him go into a back room with a secret passageway. It opens up, and all this kind of tech stuff is set up, and it's just like, holy crap, there's a lot of stuff going on here. And when he flips over that card, and that shows the G.I. Joe symbol, yo, Joe, here we go. This is it. This is what's set up. So this is the crossover. And I heard rumors about this. This is the crossover. So we're going to have Transformers and G.I. Joe crossover, which are two properties owned by Hasbro. So that, who knows, you can get Power Rangers in there at some point. Freaking, I don't know. But Hasbro has put together Transformers and G.I. Joe. So it's likely that we're going to have different Transformers coming. I don't think we're going to have a bunch more of Optimus, to be honest. I don't think we're going to get that. But Mirage and Noah, I think they're going to be part of, the Joes. And they're going to kind of run together. And we'll probably get a couple more Transformers kind of sprinkled in there as part of the team. And this could be a resurgence for some characters who are already in G.I. Joe. Again, Snake Eyes did poorly at the box office, but the G.I. Joe movies were okay for what they were. But we could see some returning characters at some point in time. It just depends and stuff on what they want to do. So with that, if they want to start fresh, if they want to bring everything, forward and kind of do kind of like a No Way Home, where you bring in the past, bring in the present, for some cameos or something like that, like you have options. So that's it. Transformers Rise of the Beasts. I actually think this was a good movie for what it was. It was not as climactic to me as it could have been. I felt a little bit. The only thing kind of I felt the moment was with the Air Razor sequence. I think Air Razor. I wish Air Razor stuck around because I love Air Razor. I was hoping for Air Razor and Silverbolt. We had Terracons. There were no Predacons, and that's the other thing. Like Predacons and Maximals kind of going back and forth. So the fact that we had Terracons, Predacons could still be a thing in the future, or maybe not. I don't know what they want to do, but they were definitely not present. Again, I just didn't get the full emotion out of the movie that I think I could have gotten if they were to dive a little bit deeper. Like the battles seemed kind of just, it's a battle. So even the final battle didn't feel as climactic and as, engaging as I wanted it to be. It just kind of felt like a moment. But again, I think it was more for Noah's character than anything, to really give him an arc to kind of go moving forward with the G.I. Joe franchise and however they want to do that. So I'll take it for what it is and see what they got to, come next with their franchises and how they want to do these movies. Is this going to be a trilogy? Is it going to be in the series? Does this start off another series? So that, like, are they going to just run congruent and be part of the Transformers type thing? Who's going to be the title card? So with that, like, it's going to be Transformers with G.I. Joe, or it's going to be G.I. Joe with Transformers. I do think it's going to make a little bit of a difference as far as how the characters and stuff are going to be depicted and what they're going to do. So, yeah. So that's all I got for this one. Hey, talk down in the comments. Let me know what you think. Let me know how this can go, what you think should have changed, what could have been freaking different. Why didn't I get Dinobot in this movie? Like, dang it, I wanted Dinobot so bad. Like, that was the only one that I wanted, and I did not get it. So, again, talk to me in the comments. Let me know what's up, and we'll take it from there.